So today we're going to continue with 2.5 in our textbooks, operations with rational numbers. You can follow along in these notes, and I would like you to fill these in. Also, if you want your textbook open, we're in the textbook on page 100 through 105. There's some great examples in there also to follow along with. So we're going to go right to some word problems. And you know, being my students, that to answer this word problem, because we want to show math literacy, that we're going to answer in full sentence answers. So let's make sure that we are going to sable, sentence answer box label our answers. A storm in Florida collected 14 4/5 inches of rainwater in the northeast Palm Bay, Florida, and 12 1/10 inches of rainwater in northwest of Palm Shores. So two different areas of Florida, big storm. What is the difference, key math word, in rainfall over the two locations? Part A. Write a subtraction expression. Well, difference means subtraction, and there's the word difference again. Expression. Well, we remember that expressions do not have equal signs. They are not a full thought. They are not a mathematical sentence. They're a mathematical expression. So we're not going to put an equal sign. Write a subtraction expression for the difference in the depth of these two recorded rainfalls. Well, I'm going to be doing subtraction. So I have to make sure that the larger absolute value number comes first in my subtraction. Well, 14 4/5 is larger in absolute value than 12 1/10. So my expression would be 14 4/5 minus 12 1/10. No equal sign. Part B. Find the difference in these two recorded rainfalls. So we're going to have to go ahead and subtract this. And again, I'm going to work vertically, so I can get my common denominator, larger absolute value number on the top, and my common denominator is tenths. So I get 8/10, 14 8/10 minus 12 1/10. 8/10 minus 1/10 is 7/10, and 14 take away 12 is 2. We're going to answer in a full sentence. Find the difference in these two recorded rainfalls. The difference in the rainfall is 2 7/10. The mixed number 2 7/10 inches. Make sure you get a label. That's what sentence answer box label is. And yes, I put it in a box. The difference in the rainfall is 2 7/10 inches. 7/10, by the way, was in lowest terms. We didn't have to reduce that. Number 13. A plank of wood has an original length of 10 1/2 feet. 3 3/8 feet is sawn off. What is the remaining length of wood? What is the remaining? So there's a part left, and part of it was sawn off. That's telling me words that mean subtract. They cut a part off of it. Usually the word cut, sawn off, remaining. Those are key words that mean to do a subtraction problem. So larger absolute value would be 10 1/2. Take away or saw off those 3 3/8 feet. What's remaining? Well, my common denominator of 1/2 and 3/8 is eighths. So I get 10 4/8, take away 3 3/8, which you should know how to do this. You get 1/8, and 10 take away 3 is 7 1/8. You probably are remembering this from practicing fractions in your past. What is the remaining length of wood? The remaining length, I use the words to write my sentence. The remaining length is, or of wood is, My answer, 7 1/8. Go back up here and look. Oh, my label's feet. Feet. 7 1/8 of a foot. Box. Number 14. The world's largest chicken egg has a length of 3 11/12 inches. Oh, that's a big egg. As compared to the average length of 2 3/4 inches. What is the difference in length? Again, it's a subtraction problem. Larger absolute value number is going to come first. 3 11/12 minus 2 3/4. Common denominator is 12ths. So far, this is pretty easy. 4 times 3, so 3 times 3 makes 9/12. 11/12 minus 9/12. I'm going to put my answer over here. 11/12 minus 9/12 is 2/12. And 3 take away 2 is, whoops, not 2. 3 take away 2 is 1/12. So I get 1 2/12. What is the difference in length? So my answer on the chicken eggs, the difference in length is 1 2/12. Oh, can I leave it 2/12? No, I can't leave it 2/12. We have to factor that. 2 and 12 both have a 2 in common, so that's 1 1/6. 1 1/6 inches. See, I caught that as I was writing it out. Make sure your answer makes sense. Number 15. The world's tallest man stands at 8 1/12 feet, while the shortest man stands at 2 5/12 feet. What is the difference in their heights? Wow. 8 1/12. That gentleman's very tall. Minus 2 5/12. Well, it's already got our common denominator of 12, so that's pretty easy. 1/12 minus 5/12. Oh, we can't do that. So this problem we're going to have to borrow, and you may not remember this, and this may be a skill that you've forgotten from the last year. So I'm going to borrow 1 from my 8. That gives me 7. And I'm not going to just plunk that 1 on like a tens place and call this 11, because I'm not borrowing a 10 to make this 10 plus 10 plus 1, 11. It's not 11/12 now. I'm going to have to add on my 1 as 12ths. So I'm going to have to add my 1 over here as 12/12. The 1 that I borrowed from this 8 comes over here as 12/12. So I'm going to combine those 12ths. And why 12ths? Because my denominator of both of my fractions is 12ths. So I'm going to add 12/12, which equals 1 whole, not tens. So 12/12. So now if I add these numerators together here, this 1 and this 12/12, I get 13/12. So 7 is my new whole number out front. And I'm going to bring over my 2 5/12, taken away from 7 13/12. 7 13/12 is the same value as 8 1/12. So 13/12, 13 take away 5, that I can do. 13 take away 5 is 8/12. And 7 take away 2 is 5. 8/12 does have a common factor of 4. So if I factor a 4, remember factoring, factor of 4 out of the numerator and the denominator, I get 2/3. So my answer is 5 2/3. The difference in their heights, the tallest man from the shortest man, the difference in their heights is 5 2/3 feet. Well, 2/3 of a foot is 8 inches. So the difference in their heights is 5 foot 8 inches. Oh, that's just a little bit shorter than me. 5 8/12, or 5 8/12, which is 5 foot 8, 5 2/3 feet. So that's the first part of the notes. The next page, I would actually like you to skip to page 7 in your packet, and it looks like this. And it's one of those riddles that says, why did the boy sheep plunge off a cliff while chasing the girl sheep? So we've done these before, and we know that they usually have some kind of a silly or ironic answer, and we're going to have to solve this puzzle to get to it. So here's our directions. I'm just going to start this. For each exercise, write an estimate of the answer. Ooh, key math word. We're going to estimate. We're going to estimate these answers. We're actually not going to get the common denominator and add or subtract them. We're just going to estimate the answer. Then on the number line under the exercise, find a point near your estimate. Write the letter of the exercise on the number line at that point. So this first problem that I'm going to do here has an N, and I'm going to estimate this sum. Well, 9/10 is pretty close. I'm looking only at the fraction part right now. 9/10, pretty close to 1 whole. So I'm going to estimate this as 4, and 13/16, my numerator, very close to my denominator. That's almost 1 whole, so I'm going to estimate that this is 2, and approximately another 1 whole to it. So this is an estimate of 3, because that 2 plus that fraction's pretty close to being 1. So my sum estimate would be 7. So I go to the number line down here, 7, and I put an N on it. That's what the direction says. I'm going to do this E. 3 11/12, well, that's pretty close. 11/12 pretty close to 1, so 3 plus 1, that gives me 4, plus 7 3/8. Well, 3/8 is actually closer to 0 than it is to 1. So I'm just going to say 4 plus 7. Well, that's easy. And as an estimate, that sum should come out to be somewhere around 11. So at 11, I have to put an E. Let's estimate a subtraction problem. I'm going to do H here. 12 5/6. Well, 5/6 is pretty close to 1. So 12 plus that 1, that's about 13. And 11 8/9. Ooh, 8/9 is pretty close to 1. So 11 and that 1 makes -12. Well, that was easy. 13 minus 12. Well, that's about 1. So on the number 1 on the number line, I'm going to write an H. So we're going to continue working on this in class tomorrow. And that's it for today's 2.5B notes.